Hey, I'm Brian Van, sportbiketracker.com, and today we're going to take a look at the Moto Chain-Mate. This is a tool kit, right, and device that's designed to help you clean and maintain your chain without making a giant mess. Cleaning and lubricating your chain is just simply a part of riding. It's going to look different depending on the style of riding that you're doing, okay? Today, for the test mule, we're going to use my son's bike, right? This is a 2015 R3's racing, and we put a dirt bike chain on this. This is a non-O-ring chain. We lube the shit out of it, and I need to keep this very clean. The reason that I use this on this bike is just low friction, right? When you have the O-rings in there, it creates a lot of friction. It takes horsepower away from these little bikes. It's no bueno. But you need to keep it clean. You need to keep it lubricated. I'm going to use this tool today while I clean his chain, getting it ready for another track weekend with Sportbike Track down here at Grattan Raceway. What I'm going to show you would translate to your street bike as well. The only difference would be, you're going to have an O-ring chain on there, right? Visually, it's the same process. What we have here is we've got a catch bottle, we've got a plastic molded tray, and you see I have used this once before, and some telescoping rods that help hold it in place. Also included in the kit, a handy little mat, a brush to scrub the chain, some instructions. Nobody uses instructions. Come on, what man uses instructions? Got a little carry bag that came with it too. This is not included. This is what we use on all of our maintenance, the Maxima chain cleanup and lubrication kit. Stuff works fantastic. I really love it. Their 3-part kit makes a lot of sense, and we'll talk about that as we go through it. My cameraman, Caleb, is also a rider, right? And he likes to work on his own stuff. So we were talking about these, wow, what is this and how does this work? And we're kind of breaking it down. He's like, it's funny that you say that, because the last time I cleaned my chain, I made a gigantic mess. I won't tell you how he said he cleaned it up, because it may have not been environmentally friendly. You need to use a lot of cleaning supplies when you do this. And having the ability to catch them in that tray and in that bottle, it's going to allow you to dispose of it properly, right? And that is pretty important. You want to respect the environment. The way this thing is designed, you're able to actually even kind of put the cans in there, like so, right? Pretty cool. You saw how I just extended this thing up, and literally the chain is now just riding inside of it. Hopefully you guys are able to get a good, clear view of this. This little mat is going to help you not stain the driveway. I got a couple of rags here. So let's start off with chain cleanup. Once again, this is going to look a little bit different than your bike. Odds are, you're doing this on a street bike. We're doing it on a race bike here. And I need this chain super clean, because that's just free horsepower. And to be able to do this and not make a gigantic mess is something that's really pretty appealing to me. Now you can see right here, it's not catching all of it. That's because I'm rotating the wheel, and the chain is going to hold on to some of that. And that's where this mat comes in handy. It's just catching that. Instead of it being on your garage floor or your driveway, it's just going to be on that mat. You wipe that mat off. Okay, I've used a generous amount of that chain cleanup. I'm going to let that sit and soak for a minute, and when I come back, we'll be brushing the chain. Okay, when you're going to brush it, you want to go ahead and remove that, okay? I'll let the stuff soak. Notice the direction I'm rotating this in. I really work hard to try and keep any of this shit from getting on the tire. How long you have to do this is going to really depend on basically how clean your chain already was or was not. This one should clean up really, really well, because this is something that I'm doing to this bike before every race or track weekend. Okay, like that. Now, and notice that little mat, man, that little mat it just kind of captured everything. That's pretty cool. So shit's not all over your driveway. I think that's a win. Shop towel. We sell these on the website too. This is something you need. You don't want a paper towel when you're doing this because that's not going to hold up. This is a nasty job. All right, so wipe off as much of the excess as you can. You're going to come up here, as I said earlier, this is kind of a different deal here. This is a race bike. We're doing a little bit different thing. I want this thing, when I'm done, super clean and well lubricated. It just simply makes more power. And that holds true even for a street bike. I mean, you remove driveline friction by maintaining your chain and sprockets. At the end of the day, the bike performs better. It's that simple. So it's maintenance that, it has performance benefits attached to it. On the surface, it may not seem like that's the case, but I can assure you that it definitely is. Okay. Next step with the kit that we're using is going to be taking the MPPL, and this is like WD-40, but just way better, okay? And we're going to rinse it off. Just wanted to kind of get the chain clean out of there. What I like to do too is I'll find my master link here, just so I know that I'm doing a complete revolution. Now we're gonna let that sit and chill because this stuff really works its way in there. If you have an O-ring chain, it's gonna work its way in through the O-rings, right? Get behind them, really penetrate and lubricate. On a non-O-ring chain like this, it's even more important. It's gonna help get into the rollers and keep those things well lubricated because the actual chain guard itself, the synthetic chain guard, it's just simply a little bit thicker and it doesn't penetrate quite as well. So this is gonna rinse off the harsh cleaner and penetrate and lubricate. So it's step 2 of the Maxima process. Okay, I threw a couple extra steps in. I like to take the counter shaft sprocket cover off because it just gets destroyed on this bike, right? Because of the amount of chain lube that we run. Clean behind there. I'm gonna clean this area up a little bit more before I put it back in. Okay, but just scrub that all out, clean that whole thing out. It's a good idea to do on your street bike too, because you don't do it as often as I'm doing this. Just take the time, couple bolts, pop that off and clean the inside of that out too. You can use all the same chemicals to do that. The chain has now had a good amount of time to just kind of sit and soak. Just gonna wipe off any excess MPPL. That's already done its job. Okay. Now we have our synthetic chain guard. Once again, what I like to do is just find that master. Make sure you shook this real good. Just a good coating. And this kind of spreads itself out too. One good complete revolution. I like to rotate the wheel a couple times like that. All right, and now we'll let that sit for a little bit and then we'll wipe off all the excess and we'll be done with our project. Okay, last step with the chain is, use a pretty clean shop rag and just rotate it and wipe off the excess. I've already done that. And then I'll do it again before Max takes it out for the first session, actually tomorrow. But now watch this. That spins significantly freer than it did before I cleaned and lubricated it. So, that's a real thing. And most riders, especially street riders, they just ignore that stuff. They just keep riding around. It's nasty. You're costing yourself money. You're giving away horsepower, right? Actually a fairly significant amount. That makes a really big difference on these lightweight bikes for sure. So now back to the product. What do I think? I think it's worth it. You know, okay, it's a little bit of an investment, but it's well made. It's going to last a long time. It was developed and it's manufactured by somebody who's in the riding community. I think there's some value to that as well. Purchase this, plus say like this Maxima cleanup kit. You know, you've got stuff that is going to last you several seasons. It's going to allow you to do this nasty maintenance. Well, it wasn't very clean on the hands, but then again, this bike was pretty dirty. It's going to allow you to do this nasty piece of maintenance easier and with making less of a mess. I answer all the comments underneath all the videos. I'd like to hear what you all think of the Moto Chain-Mate.